In the past live streams, we've already been discussing how, at first glance, this downward movement in traditional markets had to be interpreted. It was linked to DeepSeek because of its technology, up to 8 times cheaper to train and use compared to the American leader, OpenAI. This sent shockwaves through Wall Street. That's all true, of course, and we'll talk more about it in a moment, but at its core, this is just fear, nothing more. Basically, we've now gotten a glimpse into how DeepSeek achieved such an efficient training process, completely outpacing OpenAI and seemingly appearing overnight. I won't dwell on this too much, but NVIDIA has traditionally used a standard called CUDA, which has a fundamentally different architecture from what DeepSeek is working with. Instead, DeepSeek has leveraged an architecture called PTX, which, according to experts, is much more complex to understand, manipulate, and use. It's more intricate, yet DeepSeek managed to grasp it, master it, and adapt it to a less complex environment for practical use. By mastering this, they've gained much greater control over the resources used throughout the training process, as well as in the execution of their AI model itself. This is just to give you a quick snapshot of how DeepSeek pulled it off. We now have a rough idea of their approach. Of course, there are plenty of rumors circulating, claims that they distilled OpenAI's ChatGPT training process, that they somehow got their hands on it, or that a former OpenAI employee may have leaked the information to them. In an industry as intense as this, it's natural for speculation to spread. It's completely normal. But for now, we just need to keep this big picture in mind. All right, let's keep going. This is the first piece of news I wanted to share with you. And here comes the second one, man. This website. Look, I'll highlight it so you can see what I mean. This is big. To me, this is huge. Microsoft has just announced the full integration of DeepSeek's new AI into Windows Copilot and PCs. Let's not forget that Microsoft has a strong strategic partnership with OpenAI, almost a 50-50 split. In fact, they share profits equally. As part of their deal, OpenAI also gave Microsoft access to its cloud computing power to train its AI models. There's a deep connection between these two companies, OpenAI and Microsoft, and this just proves that in the tech world, loyalty is secondary to opportunity. That's what I was saying earlier. Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, has completely transformed the company since he took over. Microsoft owes a lot to him in recent years because he's turned the company into a powerhouse. I don't know if it was entirely his idea, but under his leadership, they've shifted to a subscription-based model, something that wasn't obvious before. And now Microsoft is what it is thanks to that paradigm shift. This guy is steering a massive ship, making incredibly complex decisions. And overall, he's someone who doesn't take missteps. And look at what they've just announced. Sure, Microsoft owns about 49 to 50% of OpenAI, but that didn't stop them from saying, hey, DeepSeek offers the same thing, but at a much lower cost. I'd be a fool not to integrate it. And that's exactly what they've done. Now, let's not fall into sensationalism here. This doesn't mean that the market's fear is entirely justified or that we should panic. No, this is a completely natural business move, and we're going to see this happen across the board. Any company currently relying on OpenAI's API to integrate AI into its products or services, their developer teams are working like crazy right now. Developers are rushing to implement DeepSeek because it's much cheaper, making companies more competitive. That's just how it is. But let's not forget it's an open source model, meaning everyone has access to its code, including OpenAI. Now think about this, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, and his team, how long do you think it took them to come up with a plan to match DeepSeek's level now that they have access to the source code? There's no way they're just sitting back and doing nothing. That would make no sense. This is a race. New players will enter the scene, there's no doubt about that. It's like a steam sauna. You know how you have to keep pouring water over the hot stones to generate more steam? Well, DeepSeek just showed up with a massive bucket of water and dumped it all at once. And now the whole place is filling up with steam fast. And this isn't just about them, it's happening across the entire market. But let's not jump to conclusions. Some might think, oh, DeepSeek is taking away the so-called monopoly, or rather, oligopoly from Microsoft, OpenAI, and Google. That's it, game over for the US. But honestly, that's a way too hasty and underdeveloped take. This isn't something that gets decided overnight, it's going to take time. All right, let's go through one more news update before wrapping this up. This article talks about how DeepSeek is taking advantage of the rift between OpenAI and Microsoft. Let's see what it says. Apparently, this past Wednesday, January 29th, Microsoft announced the integration of DeepSeek's generative AI model, R1, into its cloud services. Exactly what we were discussing, Microsoft is already using DeepSeek. This AI burst onto the scene just a week ago, yet its impact has been massive not just within the industry, but even on the US stock market. People are calling it a black swan event. And yeah, if you look at the numbers, it was a huge move. But let's take a step back, look at the chart, and stay calm. Now the US tech giant has integrated the R1 model, known for its open source nature and low development cost, into the catalog of models for its cloud services, including Azure AI Foundry, and GitHub with built-in security automation features. Nadella also mentioned that application developers will soon be able to run DeepSeek's R1 model locally on their PCs. And here's the key point, not just what we've already discussed. Microsoft, after seeing how drastically the computational cost has dropped, is now saying, wait, this can actually run on personal computers. It doesn't have to stay in the cloud. Previously, the computational demand was so massive that the average person simply didn't have the hardware to handle it. But with DeepSeek, what we thought would take much longer has been cut down so significantly that Microsoft is already considering making everything run locally. I don't want to go on and on about this, just take away the key points I've mentioned. I just wanted to share my perspective. Now, let's get back to the Nasdaq and focus on the charts. But before that...
Welcome to Crypto Insight, your ethical and moral channel for cryptocurrency technical analysis. Here, we really know what we're talking about. We conduct advanced technical analysis that has been developed for over 12 years. We upload videos several times a week. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, let me know and leave a comment with your opinion. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so you don't miss the next opportunity.
Let me emphasize one last thing. What's happening with AI right now is a major milestone for AI on a global scale, not just for China, but worldwide. What's happening with DeepSeek will benefit all companies, accelerating development across the board. This isn't some playground scenario where the bad kid just stole the ball from OpenAI and ended the game. That's not what happened. And I really want to stress this because that's the narrative being pushed on social media, but it couldn't be further from the truth. And speaking of that, if we look at the Nasdaq chart, what black swan event are we even talking about? If this were a true black swan, we'd see a massive, devastating candle on the chart, and then I'd say, okay, my friends, this is serious, let's get out. But look, we're holding strong up here with this rebound. Could this eventually spiral into a real black swan event? Well, sure, anything is possible. But as of now, there's no sign of one. So we have to stay positive about the US stock market. There's nothing telling us otherwise, at least not until we actually see a black swan on the chart. All right, that's it. I just wanted to take a moment to reflect and, in my opinion, bring some perspective, keep our feet on the ground and not get carried away by all these sensationalist headlines. Black swan event, the great market crash, China takes over the world. This is simply a call for calm, that's all. And with that said, let's get into the analysis. Look, Leopoldo made an interesting point in the comments. Let's see, he says. The first one isn't always the best. There are plenty of examples in history, like Yahoo or AltaVista Valles. Google. Totally agree, Leopoldo. That's a great observation because honestly, we don't know if OpenAI will end up leading the AI space in the future. Maybe Google takes over, maybe DeepSeek does, or maybe it's a player we haven't even heard of yet. That's exactly why we shouldn't blindly believe that DeepSeek is here to change the world overnight. Yasmini says that now everyone knows where I go when I'm not streaming, I go to the sauna. Well, yeah, honestly, I do. She also asks, is it possible they put out that news just to stop the stock from dropping? You know how catalysts work. We didn't know this drop was coming, but what we did see was that Nasdaq wasn't breaking the key defense zone, while the SP was. And that's when we said, wait a second, what if this is a trap right in front of our faces? And in the end, that's exactly what it was. We didn't predict it. But once it happened, it was like, damn, that question we had wasn't so far off. This stuff is planned, no doubt about it. Luca says he's really interested in AI and that 90% of the media is garbage. You have to know how to filter the information. And yeah, that's not easy. Christian brings up the USA-China trade war, import taxes, and how this might be a strategic move by China. He suggests that maybe this whole DeepSeek situation is part of a bigger play. Maybe the numbers were manipulated to create chaos in Wall Street. There are a lot of theories out there. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, we don't know. Meanwhile, looking at Nasdaq, nothing's changed. It's still holding strong. We have to stay positive. Same with the SP 500. It broke the wedge, hit the trend line, and now the only thing left is to break through this defense zone. If it does, we're headed for new all-time highs. If not, just think about it. They create a scare with the DeepSeek news, shake out the long positions, and then they just take it up themselves. That's why if this level holds, it's only up from here. If you found this advanced technical analysis interesting, let me know in the comments. Also, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so YouTube alerts you when I post new content. Best of luck with your trading and see you next time.